Welcome to this week's episode of the Declutter 360 podcast. I'm Lauren Diekman, a certified home organizer and mindset coach who's created this space that is dedicated to helping you unlock your potential to live an organized life once and for all. Are you ready to get organized from all angles? Let's dive in. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me on another episode of the podcast. Hey, so today we are talking about something that I get asked a lot, and it just came up again recently. And it's something that we do talk about, or I do talk about here on the podcast, and that's the idea of how important it is to declutter before you organize. There are so many people, and you may be one of them, my friend. I know I used to do it like this too, who simply take a look at their disorganized situation, whatever it may be. They go to the store. You might even stop and take the time to take some measurements, right? See, what your space is that you're working with. Figure out what kinds of containers will work in that space. Then you go out to the store, you get on Amazon, you order these products, they ship and show up right at your door, or you run over to the store and pick them up. And then you might even go through the process of getting things sorted and or labeled. But if you haven't decluttered, what you've done is you've created the dreaded clutter coffin. Yes, my friend, a clutter coffin. A clutter coffin is what we like to call these spaces that someone thinks they have organized, but really it's still not organized. Because even if you try to access something within that bin, within that drawer, within that space, whatever it may be, you still have all this clutter. You still have all of these things that are things that you don't use, love, want, need, right? And so they are taking up space, valuable space, your real estate, and blocking you from having simple, easy access to the things that you need. Or they're taking up the space that the things you actually use, love, want, and need to be occupying. You don't have the space for them. And guess what that does? It perpetuates the clutter cycle for you. This is why it is so critical for you to take the time to go through and declutter your space. And even, my friend, if you are listening to this right now and you think, but I already organized it, I got inspired, I maybe was on Pinterest, I saw these things, or I was on TikTok or Instagram, I saw these links, I bought the organizers, I put all my stuff in them, it looks great. Okay, but is it functional? Is it functional in the way that you need it to be? Did it actually simplify your life? Or did it just create a creative hiding place? A clutter coffin. Don't create clutter coffins for yourself. That doesn't make life simpler. It doesn't make life flow the way that you want it to. Okay, it defeats the purpose. In fact, it can actually serve the opposite. It can make life trickier for you, having to dig past the clutter to get to what you want. It can make it more difficult. Can, does, will. If you've already organized, go ahead and take one of your clutter coffins out. You know I'm a huge fan of starting small, of keeping your space that you're working in small, manageable, right? Don't go walk into your closet take a look at all these new bins and things, or your pantry, or whatever it may be. We're going to be talking about some kitchen stuff here coming up. So stick around and look at these bins that you bought and say, okay, she's right, and pull everything back out. Don't do it. Resist that temptation. My friends, when we do that, it can create these awful roadblocks for us, for you. And I don't want you to experience that. And the other beautiful thing about, keeping yourself limited, pulling one of those bins out and tackling it is that if you get through decluttering that one bin, that one drawer, that one space, and you feel like that's all I've got in me right now, that's okay. You decluttered one bin, one drawer, one space. That's amazing. Now put it back and come back and pick up where you left off another day. But if you pulled that one bin out and you went through it and you decluttered it and you put it back and you still feel energized and you still have the time and the motivation and the inspiration, we talked a lot about motivation and inspiration with habits last week, then you can continue. You can pull out another bin, open another drawer, clear off another shelf, whatever it is for you. But start small and go back through and declutter those spaces. You're going to notice a huge difference. That it's not just more aesthetically pleasing when you open the pantry and you see these bins that are labeled and beautiful, but you've actually gone through and pulled out the things that are expired so they're not in the way of the things that are still good. You've pulled out things that you can't even remember when you bought that. It may not even be expired, but what was I thinking? We didn't eat this. I don't even remember buying this. We're not going to eat this. Okay? Get those things out. It makes it so much easier to find the things that you're looking for, to be able to access them, get to them with more ease. That, my friend, is the purpose of organizing, not just so your stuff looks pretty. Function before fashion. Trust me, the function is the more important piece of the puzzle. I tell my clients all the time, don't necessarily worry about buying all new bins right at the beginning. Let's work on the function first. And oftentimes we can go through your house and find things that you already have that are going to help create the function the way that you need it to function, to work for you, so that you have that simple flow. Once you get that function part just right for you, then you can elevate the look if you want to. You can get new bins and take it a step further and make it more aesthetically pleasing than some mismatched things. But I oftentimes urge my clients to go with the things that they already have first. Not only is it more cost effective, but it gives you that opportunity to go through the purging process first and then really see what it is that you have to organize within the space, right? It also gives you the opportunity to make some tweaks to the system before you go and make an investment in the project. So maybe you think you got the function just right, but maybe you need to live with it for a few days or even a few weeks or even longer and see, is this working for me? And if it is, great. Then you're ready to focus more on the fashion side of things. You're ready to elevate the aesthetic. But if the function isn't on target, then you have an opportunity without having invested any funds to make those changes, to have that freedom and not feel like you're tied to the choices that you've already made. Because that, my friend, can be another big roadblock to actually getting yourself functionally organized. And that is the secret. Function before fashion to help you avoid the clutter coffins. All right, my friend, think about it. Think about where have you created a clutter coffin in your life already? And what are you going to do about it? You can come tell me over in the Facebook community. The link to join that, if you haven't already, is in the show notes. And I'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning into the Declutter 360 podcast today. I am so grateful that you found me and that we can partner together to help you live life organized from all angles. Whether this was your first time listening or you've heard every episode, you'll want to join my email list so you don't miss a bit of the inspiration and motivation to help you stay the course in living organized. Check the show notes for the link to join, okay? And hey, if you found this episode to be particularly helpful or inspiring, I would be so honored for you to share it on socials so we can grow the impact of these messages together. Oh, thank you so much. All right, my friend, that's all for now. Tune in next week for more on the Declutter 360 podcast.